From the heart of America, where hard work, freedom, and faith still define who we are. From the farms to the factories, from small towns to city streets, this is the fight for the soul of our nation.
We're watching Democrats attack democracy. Do not be fooled.
The strength, the grit, the greatness of the American spirit, all right here.
The left wanted power, not peace, but there's a resistance rising. A generation saying enough, enough. We've tried it their way, and it failed.
The Steve Gruber Show with your host, Steve Gruber, starts right now.
And he tells me to stop talking. That's what I do for a living. If you got some inside baseball, congratulations to you. Here we go into another big action-packed day, another big week. A day late and about $1 short. Heck, haven't got an extra $1 maybe. Fighting for you from the foxhole of freedom because it matters the most, covering America first. Here are three big things you need to know this hour. Number one, the Turning Point USA halftime show numbers keep growing. It is eye-popping, folks. More than 25 million views as of yesterday. I haven't even checked today. Haven't even looked yet. It's just remarkable. Number two, in Florida, if you cannot pass a driver's exam in English, guess what? You can't get a driver's license. What a concept. Understand our language or don't drive on our roads. It's pretty incredible. And number three, President Trump warning that if we don't pass voter ID requirements, it will be the end of this nation as we know it. I happen to agree. He wrote that on social media. True Social. I agree. Democrats are scared the 2024 election threatened them, and they're reaching for more power by any means necessary. Obviously, as we pointed out many times on this program, illegal immigration is a big one, maybe the biggest of all. The Biden administration made sure to broadcast far and wide that our borders were wide open. Come on in, the water's fine. They encouraged and allowed unprecedented numbers of illegals to flood into this country. It was a clear vision, a plan, a strategy meant to secure the left's power, even if they lost the White House for several reasons they didn't care. One, we know they're fine with illegal migrants voting in our elections. It's why they so strongly oppose voter ID. It's why they've tried to stick the racist label on the SAVE Act, like Senator Chuck Schumer did many times recently. Here's one example.
What do you say to Mike Lee's argument that the Senate rules allow the majority to require the minority to stage a talking filibuster to stop the SAVE Act?
We've got to get this done, and we've got to get it done very quickly. The SAVE Act is an abomination. It's Jim Crow 2.0 across the country. We are going to do everything we can to stop it.
Jim Crow 2.0. Oh, really? Are you kidding me? Not only is that a complete lie, it's also completely out of step with how the American people feel across the board. And even CNN has blown the cover on all of that nonsense, and Democrats are still trying to ignore it. Take a look at these poll numbers. Here they are.
Take a look here. Favor photo ID to vote. 85% of white people favor it. 82% of Latino. 76% of black Americans favor it. So the bottom line is this. Voter ID is not controversial in this country. A photo ID to vote is not controversial in this country. It is not controversial by party, and it is not controversial by race. The vast majority of Americans agree with Nicki Minaj that, in fact, you should have a photo ID to be able to vote. So something of a non...
Weird. Anthony even agrees with Nicki Minaj. Well done, Anthony. When 76% of black voters and 82% of Latino voters want voter ID, kind of hard to call it racist, isn't it? But they do it anyway and expect their white, brainwashed, liberal zombie voters to just keep drooling and believe them when they say it over and over again. But even people like Bill Maher say his party is acting foolishly when they compare the SAVE Act to Jim Crow-era laws. Here he is.
And it's also foolish because Biden used that exact phrase about voting in Georgia. And then they did polling after that next election came up, and even the black folks said we had no problem voting. So, you know, like you say, don't engage in the kind of hyperbole that's just going to bite you in the ass.
Big bite. But Bill's party will always rely on emotional outrage over race to garner them votes, knowing that oftentimes it works. That's why it is as important as ever to pass the SAVE Act right now. There's a slim majority for the conservatives right now, but it's very slim. We currently do have a majority in both chambers of Congress and the White House. It's about time they did something with it. The SAVE Act has been passed by the House, but unfortunately, Senate Leader John Thune has yet to bring up the bill for a vote in the Senate because he doesn't want to go up against the dreaded filibuster. Here it is.
The coin in the realm in the Senate is floor time. There's a finite amount of it, and we have a lot of things we have to do. There's a housing bill that's awaiting action, hopefully a market structure bill, possibly permitting reform, farm bill, highway bill. You can go right down the list. Russia sanctions, there are a whole bunch of things that could be teed up for action on the floor of the Senate. And so you have to make some judgments, and the conference will have a conversation about that. I've committed to that we will talk about that idea and determine whether or not what the conference's views are about it and how they want to proceed. As I said, we will vote on the SAVE Act, but exercising or triggering a talking filibuster has ramifications, implications that I think everybody needs to be aware of. So we will have those discussions, but that's obviously ties the floor up for an indefinite amount of time with not only unlimited debate, but also unlimited amendments.
Feckless, spineless weasels. If you ask me, we have exactly two choices. Either end the filibuster or it's the end of America as we know it. No middle ground here because that's what it boils down to. End of the filibuster or end of America. No middle ground. Democrats want to talk a big game about democracy, about the rule of law and the rule of the people. Well, more than 80% of the people want voter ID. We need to make that happen. We must make that happen. The filibuster today doesn't even remotely resemble what it was supposed to be. The traditional talking filibuster required senators to physically hold the floor and keep talking to block a bill, really forcing an effort, public accountability, visible debate. The modern zombie filibuster doesn't require any of that. Senators can quietly signal opposition, triggering a 60-vote requirement, and legislation stalls without anyone talking at all. This blocks laws through procedure, not persuasion. Get out there, defend what you have to say. It also avoids the transparency and the accountability the filibuster was originally meant to demand. But we need more than just voter ID. We need to remove all illegal aliens from our census. And this is a point that I think is not getting the attention that it should. We've been conducting mass deportations, which is good, but those millions of people are still in our census tallies, and that's how political districts and federal resources are determined. For instance, if we look at California alone, if you took just 2.5 million people from its census totals, a very, very conservative estimate of the amount of illegals living in California, they'd lose 2 or 3 seats in Congress and $3 to $5 billion in federal funding every year. I think the real number is more like 7 congressional seats that should be in place in places like Texas, Tennessee, and Florida. California is stealing political power and money from states that just are getting screwed. And that's just California. I've got so much more to talk about this. Filibuster or America? You choose. I'll be right back. All right, like I said, that's just California. That's just California. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seats in Congress, which means votes in the Electoral College when it comes to presidential elections. And, of course, California with its gerrymandering means there'll only be like 4 Republicans left in Congress from that state. Then throw in New York, New Jersey, Illinois. We've got an entirely different nation, one that's not $30 trillion in debt, one that's more balanced in power if done right. Think about history for a moment. Back in the days of the 3/5 compromise, slave states wanted enslaved people counted in the census, not because they cared about freedom or rights, but because it gave them more political power in Congress and more influence in the Electoral College. Those people couldn't vote, had no rights, and yet they boosted political clout for the slave owners. That's what that was all about. Now look at sanctuary states. They're doing the exact same thing. They want illegal aliens fully counted in the census, which pads their congressional representation and increases federal funding. But those people, just like the slaves during the Three-Fifths Compromise, can't legally vote, don't have legal rights, are not citizens. The state benefits, the population does not. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? They're the Democrats playing the race card again. It's the exact same logic. Use a population for political and financial gain without giving them any real power or responsibility. And we're supposed to just shrug it off and call it compassion. No. This is about representation and money being manipulated. And the American people get left out. They get left out while politicians cash in. History isn't repeating itself. It's just being rebranded. Texas has its fair share of illegal aliens as a border state. And while many in Texas are working toward a healthy nation of legal aliens, Texas State Representative Gene Wu wants to weaponize the presence of illegal aliens like I just talked about. And like so many Democrats, he's not shy about saying it out loud. Here it is.
I always tell people the day the Latino, African American, Asian, and other communities realize that they share the same oppressor is the day we start winning. Because we are the majority in this country now. We have the ability to take over this country and to do what is needed for everyone and to make things fair. But the problem is our communities are divided. They're completely divided. And I talk about
So I'm an oppressor. Me, I'm an oppressor. The mask is off. The gloves are off. Like I said, Democrats are going to claw back power any way they see fit, even if that means undermining laws that they passed. That's exactly what's happening in Virginia as we speak. 46% of Virginia voted for Donald Trump in 2024. It has 11 seats in the House of Representatives, 6 represented by Democrats, 5 by Republicans. The Virginia state legislature proposing a map that would make it 10-1, 10 Democrats, 1 Republican. Gerrymandering at its very worst, the most obscene gerrymandering in this country possibly, and it's against what Virginians have voted for time and again. In 2020, Virginia voters voted for a Democrat proposed law that outlawed gerrymandering. It states, quote, a map of districts shall not, when considered on a statewide basis, unduly favor or disfavor any political party, and yet here we are. 99 out of 100 state House districts voted against gerrymandering in 2020, and in 2019, Abigail Spanberger, the new governor there, said that gerrymandering was detrimental to democracy, but she and her Democrat trifecta, they don't care. They're throwing that all out, along with the wishes of the voters of Virginia for an outrageous map that very clearly favors her own party, and they're not hiding why they're doing it at all. They're not even pretending this is a fair representation of the state's electorate. They're framing it as a fight against Donald Trump and Donald Trump only. Listen.
Today we are leveling the playing field. These are not ordinary times, and Virginia will not sit on the sidelines while it happens. We made a promise to level the playing field, and today we're keeping our promise. Our maps are ready. Virginia is ready. We said 10-1, and we meant it. And we are proud to deliver a map that stands up for democracy, to stand up for Virginians, to stand up and give us a voice. He started this mess, and Virginia is going to finish it.
Liar! That's Virginia's state Senate leader, and she's been on a rampage against Donald Trump since he took office. And Governor Spanberger has done nothing to bring down the tension or the temperature, even though she promised to be a moderate. She's a moderate. Yeah, my ass. Instead, Spanberger made sure to sign into law a bill that amended the state's constitution to allow gerrymandering as one of her first acts as governor. That's before she proposed 50 new taxes, of course. Folks, this is the raw truth. Democrats are desperate, twisting laws, borders, and maps to cling to power like a drowning man on a raft. From Biden's open border fiasco to Spanberger's gerrymandering betrayal in Virginia, it's all a calculated siege on our democracy. It doesn't protect democracy, it destroys it. We cannot let the filibuster zombie or census cheats hand them the keys. President Trump is right. Voter ID and the SAVE Act must be passed now. Conservatives have the majority. It's time to use it. Call your senators. Call your members of Congress. Demand action. History's watching. We will fight for for fair elections or watch the republic slip away? Which is it going to be? The choice is ours. It's now or never. Which side are you on? This segment proudly sponsored by PureClean's Veterans Initiative, PureVet, where veterans find purpose in property restoration and entrepreneurship. We salute those who have served. 855-PureVet or purevet.com. If you're a veteran or know somebody who is, now's the time to figure it out. It's also the time to figure out how to follow us on YouTube. This community is growing. And in a week's time, we're launching a brand new podcast, Forgotten America, so that people like you have a place where you can be heard. It's right there, by the way. That QR code will take you to YouTube directly. Become a subscriber, become a supporter, and our first guest on the brand new podcast is Kyle Rittenhouse, talking about his experiences after that shooting, where he killed 2 people and shot a third. Says, I never should have been there. I was a kid. I had no business being there. You'll be surprised. But what Kyle Rittenhouse has to say, he went underground for years. He's back. He'll be on Forgotten America when we launch next week. Go to YouTube. Become a subscriber. I'll be back.